Today's film is an action thriller from 2024 titled Dirty Angels. The film opens with a flashback from 2021, in which an Afghani Taliban forces the public and 4 Rangers to stone their Captain Jack to death. While one ranger silently protests by throwing away his rock, the Taliban shoots a random man in public to instill fear among the rangers. Seeing his mercilessness, they immediately begin throwing their stones at Jack, who's already brutally beaten up. Thankfully, the Americans send 2 military helicopters full of rangers to rescue Jack and her team. After a crossfire, the Taliban blows up one of the helicopters with a rocket launcher. So the men only rescue Jack and fly away, despite her command to return for her rangers, who get shot on the spot. In the present day, we are shown an all-girls high school in Ketta, Pakistan, which gets hijacked by the same Taliban. He's seen lining up the girls and loading them in his truck. A bunch of girls secretly watch the terrorists from the rooftop. They witness him asking everyone to push forward the daughter of Camilla, their education minister. The teacher tries to cover for her by claiming she didn't attend school today, but the terrorist ruthlessly shoots her in the head. The girls on the rooftop fear being caught, so they plan to run towards the parking lot so they can find a car and drive away in secrecy. One of them pushes the Taliban off the staircase with full force and roasts him with his own gun. When more Taliban show up hearing the gunshot, she takes them down too. Unfortunately, she runs out of ammo when the main Taliban walks in. She runs back to the rooftop to alert the girls. When the Taliban step foot on the rooftop, she courageously attempts to fight them, but the main Taliban grabs her by the neck and figures by her bravery that she's the daughter of Camilla. He accuses Camilla of using her education system to encourage the girls to defy the Holy Prophet, for which she should be held accountable. The girl insults him for being a part of ISIS. The Taliban's fragile ego gets hurt by her statement and throws 2 of her friends off the rooftop. Later, he sends a ransom tape to Camilla, in which he demands $10 million per girl and the release of a prisoner named Sheikh al-Shamali. Meanwhile, the girls and Fadia are seen arguing with one another in the Taliban's base. Back in America, Jack is still fighting in the court to charge the pilot with cowardice for leaving her rangers behind. But even the judge is tired of her attempts and asks her to take back her complaint. Afterwards, she's seen sparring with her pal Travis from the CIA. He brings to her attention the captured girls in Ketta. He wants to seek Jack's help to rescue them by posing as an international relief organization, which requires more women on the team. He's already booked her a commercial ticket and gotten her a fake Canadian passport. This leaves Jack no choice, so she boards the flight to Ketta and gets a taxi ride by a man named Abbas. He drops her off at the hotel, where the rest of the crew is staying. She prefers to know them. After seeing them, she goes to the nearest internet cafe where she calls her old friend, Owena, and convinces her to find the address of the place where they're keeping the girls hostage. She then meets Travis for assurance about his weapon stash. He's sure that it's still intact because he welded it shut himself. There, Camilla shows up. It turns out she contacted them for help first and wants the Americans to capitalize on how they're the ultimate saviors in exchange for saving only Fadia first. She offers her help crossing the border with the help of her old friend Bashir, who works on the border. Outside, Abbas and his brother Malik are waiting in their medical welfare trucks to help the team cross borders. Jack sits with Malik instead of Abbas and heads towards the border. Their trucks malfunction on the rocky roads, so they stop for Abbas to fix the trucks. In the meantime, Malik bonds with Jack over his music taste. Once the trucks are fixed, they continue their journey. The Afghani militants stop their trucks on the border and begin aggressively checking their packages. Their senior shows up and scolds them for what they've done. He lets Jack and her team go after introducing himself as Bashir and secretly passing his phone number on a chit in case they ever need his help. While Jack continues her journey, the Taliban is seen striking a deal with Holly. In exchange for her freedom, he asks her to slide a note to the Afghan police. Back on the road, Jack and her team supply the medicine to the distributors and purposefully bug their truck so that they are asked to leave it behind. Abbas shows Jack the army's base where they keep their ammunition. The next day, Travis leaves with the girls to retrieve his weapons, while Jack leaves in a burqa to meet Awina and find out the coordinates of the hostages. Travis and the girls are left with disappointment when they find his stash looted and fallen to the ground. Meanwhile, Hallie goes to the police station with a note where her car carries an explosive. It blows up the entire station for betraying their cause by letting in intruders. Travis and his team watch the explosion from the hotel's balcony and confirm that the ISIS is backing up the Taliban. Jack returns and tells them the girls are being kept in an old tobacco factory. That night, they plan on stealing the ammunition Abbas told them about. To distract the soldiers, they first blow up a shop with gas cylinders, which causes a huge explosion. Then they drive to the base and ambush the security guards. Once they have the weapons, they set up landmines outside the base. When the army sends trucks full of operatives, they drive over the landmines and die in the explosion. Jack and her squad drive away from there, but an injured operative shoots Dr. Mike, who falls off the truck. Jack forces Malik to return for him. By the time they return, more operatives show up. Travis gets shot, so the girls cover for him and shoot most of the operatives. Before leaving, they explode the operative's vehicle to kill the remaining ones. When Jack and her team speed away from there, Travis dies in Jack's arms. The mechanic throws an outburst for getting their men killed. Jack decides to call Bashir and have Geek trace his location through the call. He refuses to help them after what they've done. The next morning, Jack shows up at an old acquaintance's house to bury the men. After the burial, Camilla pays them a visit and gives them fake $10 million to free Fadia before they kill her like they killed Hallie. Meanwhile, the Taliban forces Fadia to marry him in their new hideout. Awina pays them a visit before their mission. She claims that the Taliban somehow knew about their attack and that it was somehow related to the rescue mission of his hostages. So he shifted the girls somewhere unknown to her. Jack changes the plan and decides to kidnap Sheikh from prison themselves and use him to negotiate with the Taliban. She also tells everyone to burn their IDs and admit they're American soldiers in case they get caught, because this way, they will be traded instead of getting killed. Now when the army goes to pick Sheikh from the prison, the mechanic and the geek follow them. The others hide on the roadside and tie a string across the road to topple the cars. Before they show up, the mechanic sees a bus headed in their direction, so she crashes her scooter into the bus in order to stop it from ruining their mission. Her leg gets caught up in tires. Now everything falls according to their plan. They shoot rocket launchers to kill the guards and kidnap Sheikh. Poor Abbas gets shot too. They try to rescue the mechanic, but more soldiers begin to show up. They end up leaving her there and tell her to proudly claim she's an American. When they return, they mourn Travis and Abbas. Soon, the terrorists release a tape of the mechanic, in which she refuses to tell them she's American because that would jeopardize their mission. The terrorists accuse her of being with ISIS and slit her throat. When Jack goes to tell this to Awina, she finds her suspiciously talking to someone on the phone. She becomes startled to see Jack, which confirms her suspicion. Hence, she knocks her out, which draws the other girls too. Together, they check her phone and find out she's been reporting everything to the Taliban. The girls immediately drive away from there and stop nearby. Jack reveals that she left her phone in the bag, by tracking which they can get to their secret base. While the girls track them and find the base, the Taliban brings Sheikh to his new room and shows him around. Outside, Jack takes down one terrorist on the entrance level and infiltrates the place via a vent made for the diesel fumes to pass out. She eventually puts on a burqa like the other chore ladies and lurks nearby the surveillance monitors to find out where the hostages are being kept. She immediately reports it back to her headquarters, who send in a helicopter. Fadia puts on a red dress and agrees to marry the Taliban in exchange for freeing her friends. Soon, the rest of her team makes its way inside on their own and starts rigging the place with bombs and taking down their security men. Amidst their nikah, the Taliban finds Jack's phone inside the money bag and shoots Awina for bringing them trouble. By the time Jack reaches the hostages, the Taliban alerts his security of the imposter. They round up all the women and ask them to lift their veils. One of them doesn't, so the Taliban send his man to see who's underneath it. It turns out to be the bomber, who detonates a bomb. The Taliban scatter around with their guns. When Fadia returns to the hostages, Jack gives her the duty to rescue the girls and returns to face the Taliban head-on. On the other hand, the terrorists launch a rocket towards the shooter, who gets away but gets stuck under the ruins. The schoolgirls also find their way out, while Jack faces the man who killed her rangers. The hostages and the rest of the team unite near the Taliban's cars. While they try to start the cars, the shooter covers them by shooting the Taliban headed in their direction. Meanwhile, Jack kills the Taliban after a long fight. Soon, the shooter runs out of bullets and gets shot. Jack also shows up with her injured teammate, so the blonde girl comes out to give them cover. Lucky for them, the stuck under rocks geek throws a grenade at the Taliban army and blows them up. Jack comes to rescue her, but she forces her to leave with the hostages. The girls successfully make it outside, where the American army is waiting with their chopper. Malik and Jack help everyone get on the helicopter and return in their car to rescue Geek. Here, the film ends. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome recaps.